I'm 75 years old, and up until 3 weeks ago, I believed I could live alone forever. It was a Tuesday morning when the floor decided to disappear from under me. I was just getting out of the shower, reaching for the towel hanging on the back of the door. My hand was wet, my foot was wet, and in that split second, I was airborne. I landed hard against the vanity, my hip taking the brunt of it. The sound, that dull thud of bone against wood, echoed in the tiny bathroom. I lay there on the cold tile, a sharp, searing pain shooting down my leg, and all I could think was, this is it. This is how it ends. The steam from the shower swirled around me like a ghost, and the silence in my house, usually a comfort, suddenly felt terrifying. How long would I lie here before someone found me? A day. The thought was more painful than the ache in my hip. After what felt like an eternity, I managed to pull myself up, using the toilet for leverage. My body screamed in protest. I stood there, leaning heavily on the sink, looking at the stranger in the mirror. His face was pale, his eyes wide with a fear I hadn't seen since I was a young man in a war far from home. A large, angry bruise was already blooming on my hip. I limped my way into the bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed, the mattress sighing under my weight. That fall wasn't an accident. It was a message, a clear, undeniable warning that my independence, the thing I treasured most, was hanging by a thread. I had been ignoring the signs for months, maybe even years. My life as a senior living alone was becoming a series of small, risky compromises, and I was losing the battle. Living alone after 70 wasn't something I planned, but after my wife passed, this house was all I had left of her. Every corner holds a memory. But lately, those memories are being overshadowed by a quiet anxiety. Take the stairs, for example. I used to run up and down them without a thought. Now, each step is a calculated move. My hand grips the banister tightly, my knees protest with every rise. I find myself planning my day to minimize trips upstairs. I bring down my clothes for the next morning, my book, my reading glasses. Anything to avoid an extra climb. It's a small adjustment, but it feels like a surrender. Have you noticed this happening to you too? When was the last time going up to your bedroom felt easy, and not like a chore you had to prepare for? This fear of losing independence creeps in so quietly you barely notice it until it's shouting at you. Then there's the kitchen. Cooking used to be a joy. Now, it's a source of constant low-grade stress. A few months ago, I was boiling water for my tea and the phone rang. It was my daughter, checking in. We talked for a good 20 minutes. When I hung up, a strange smell hit me. I walked back into the kitchen to find it filled with smoke. The kettle had boiled dry and the plastic handle was melting. The smoke alarm didn't even go off. I was lucky I caught it. Since then, I triple-check the stove every time I use it. Off, off, off. I say it out loud. But the fear lingers. What if next time I'm not so lucky? What if I forget? These small slips are what scare me the most. They're the whispers of a future I don't want to face, one where I'm not safe in my own home. For many elderly living alone, the kitchen becomes a place of forgotten pots and small dangers. And sleep. Sleep isn't the refuge it used to be. I wake up 3, 4 times a night, not always to use the bathroom, but just awake. My mind races. Did I lock the front door? Did I take my evening pill? I get up, check the door, it's always locked. I look at my pill organizer, the little box for Tuesday night is empty. But the reassurance only lasts until the next time I wake up, and the cycle of doubt begins again. The quiet of the night amplifies every creak of the house, every worry in my head. This is the reality of aging and independence. It's not a sudden collapse, but a slow erosion of confidence, especially in the dark when you're all by yourself. The thought of a nursing home flashes in my mind during those lonely hours. That's the ultimate fear, isn't it? The loss of my home, my routine, myself. I'd rather face almost anything than the nursing home fear that so many of us carry. Leaving the house has become a production. It takes me a good half hour to get ready, finding my keys, my wallet, my glasses, making sure I have my list. I once got all the way to the grocery store, a 10-minute drive, only to realize I'd left my wallet on the kitchen table. The frustration was immense. I felt so foolish, so old. I turned the car around and went home. I didn't even go back out. I just made a sandwich with what I had. That day, I felt the walls of my world shrinking. My confidence to just go out and do things, something I never questioned before, was fading. The simple freedom of running an errand was gone. Is this something you've experienced? That feeling of defeat over a simple, forgotten item. It's not just about forgetting a wallet. It's about what that forgetting represents. It's another sign that living alone is getting harder. My kids call, they love me, I know they do. But their calls are filled with questions that feel like tests. Dad, are you eating properly? Did you remember your doctor's appointment on Wednesday? Maybe we should hire someone to help with the cleaning. Dad, I always tell them I'm fine. Don't worry about me, I'm managing perfectly. It's a lie, of course. A lie I tell them, and a lie I tell myself. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want them to see me as frail. So I put on a brave voice and pretend that my life as a senior living alone is just as it's always been. But the truth is, I forgot the doctor's appointment last month. I only remembered a week later when the clinic called to reschedule. How could I forget something so important? The shame was heavy. I'm afraid that one day they'll see through the act. They'll see the burned kettle, the forgotten appointments, the bruises I try to hide. They'll see that I'm not managing, and they'll make the decision for me. The fall in the bathroom was my wake-up call. Lying on that floor, helpless and in pain, I finally admitted the truth to myself. I can't do this alone anymore. Not like this. Ignoring the small slips, pretending the stairs aren't a challenge. Brushing off the forgotten appointments, it's all been a form of denial. This isn't just about aging and independence, it's about safety. It's about dignity. The idea of losing my independence still terrifies me. The nursing home fear is real. But the fear of lying on a cold floor for 2 days, undiscovered, is now greater. My reluctance to ask for help, my stubborn pride, was putting me at real risk. It's a difficult thing to admit that the life you've built, the autonomy you've cherished, is becoming too much to handle on your own. So, I made a call. Not to a nursing home, not yet. I called my daughter. And for the first time, I told her the truth. I told her about the fall. I told her about the kettle. I told her how I sometimes get scared at night. Her voice on the other end wasn't filled with pity, but with relief. "Oh, Dad, thank you for telling me. We can figure this out, together." We talked for over an hour. We discussed options I'd refused to consider before. A medical alert button. Having a carer come in a few hours a week to help with chores and cooking. Maybe even looking at assisted living communities nearby, a nursing home. But a place where I can still have my own apartment, my own life, but with help just a button press away. I don't know what the future holds. The path forward isn't clear, and the thought of any change is daunting. But, for the first time in a long time, I don't feel completely alone with my fear. Admitting I needed help wasn't a surrender. It was the first step toward taking back control, toward ensuring my final years are lived with safety and dignity, not in constant, quiet fear. Living alone is a privilege, but it's not worth my life. There's still time to make a plan, to make the right choices. But I now know, with a certainty that chills me to the bone, there isn't much time to waste. If you see yourself in my story, if you've been ignoring the signs, please, don't wait for a fall. Don't wait until it's too late. Thank you for listening.